Hello everybody, it is Nicole from iiKiui, and today I have a art product review from Arteza. As a disclaimer, I did receive these items for free in exchange for my honest review, so let's go ahead and get started. So the pack that I got was the 48 pack, and it comes in this plastic packaging. They have 2 layers of markers, and the first thing I should say is that this is probably not a very good storage option because the plastic's pretty flimsy. So if you want to take them out and just put them in a box, that should be fine too. Or if you want to color coordinate it somewhere else, that's probably what I'm going to do. But for the sake of this video, I kept it in the packaging. The colors I actually really like. They have quite a variety, and not only that, they have different shades. So say I wanted to use a teal, they have the light teal, the medium shade teal, and then a darker teal. So if you wanted to blend it out, then you could. And I think the reason for that is because the markers tend to stay pretty true to their own color, and when you blend it, they just turn like a lot lighter. So blending it with the other shades of itself would actually make for a smoother transition or gradual gradient in your picture. Here you'll see me doing some swatches for you guys. I did it in the order that they came in the box so that you would know what you're getting when you got it. So I didn't rearrange it at all, but later I probably will because I would like to color coordinate all my markers. I think they have a very good variety. They have the bright, like primary colors, and then they have on the next layer more of the teals, the light blues, dark blues, purples, different shades of pink, and more desaturated colors like the burgundy, the desaturated gray blue. So I think that's a good variety. Not only that, because they are water brush pens or real brush pens, I'm just going to call them water brush pens because they're kind of like watercolor. But because they are like that, you can use water to dilute it and to lighten the color and basically create your own new colors. So you're getting a lot of colors in this pack. The pen has a black barrel and a clear cap. At the end and at the top of the pen, they have the colors that they're supposed to be. I believe the bristles on the pen are plastic, similar to water brush pens that have the plastic hairs. When using these pens, I noticed that it's probably best to work your way from dark to light because they are very, very opaque when you lay them down. It's hard to go the other way because you can blend them out, but blending it out more from dark to light. So basically I start with all the shadows and then I use a water brush pen that's just filled with water, kind of like a colorless blender if you use markers, to just go up and get the color on the character, or in my case the character, but you could be coloring something else. I did notice that these pens give off a more watercolor texture, so if you see like water lines, that will be kind of prominent in the final unless you continue to blend it. These pens actually are just ink, so if you put water or put the pen onto water, you'll see that the pen can go kind of clear because it's soaking up all the water. You could probably find this as an advantage. It will lighten the color significantly, but then eventually the pen will come back to its original like ink state. And I highly suggest using the water almost immediately after placing down the pen marks, because if you leave it for too long, they'll most likely not budge. The colors will come off of it, but the line mark from the original mark, I guess, will stay there. So I decided to use it on a character that I drew. I designed it the night before. As I said in my last video, it's kind of difficult for me to film me sketching out an idea and then developing it for you guys while also doing the coloring. So I decided to focus more on coloring because that's what I'm struggling with more. I decided to go for a brown for the skin, and I noticed that some of the browns were more on the gray side rather than the red side, but I tried to make do with what I had. The brown that I used, I'm not really sure which one it was. You could probably see in the video. I think the hardest part about the coloring was actually the brown because it kept lightening up way too much, way more than I wanted. So I kept adding more and more and more. And if you saw, the markers tend to bleed. They do have a fine tip, so once everything dries and you want to add it in for like a solid color, then that totally works. But if you wanted to continue to blend and blend and blend and add more water, I think they bleed quite a bit. You also have to be careful when adding other colors. So in the skin, I added like a peachy color for her cheeks and for her knees. And at first it didn't really work out. It just gave like a red blotch, and maybe some people like that look, but I wanted to blend a little bit more. So I kept adding more peach and then adding more brown and blending it together to create like, I guess, an harmonious color between. Another thing I would watch out for is if you're doing the outline of a shadow, be careful on the edges, because if you blend out everything else but the edges, they give a very dark line. It could work as an outline if you want it that way. I wasn't really going for that, but it kind of happened on her left arm, the arm that you see in front, and it happened on the edge of that. It also happened along her face, but that part I don't really mind too much. Overall, I actually really like these markers. I think they're a really good alternative to COOLPIX and watercolors like put together, because they have the solid like opaque color of a marker, but then they have the flexibility of being watered down and diluted as watercolor. So they're kind of like a cool in-between. It was fun to experiment with them. I definitely think I'll be using them more in the future, especially with the other colors that I have, because I think I only used 3 colors. Like I used 2 shades of peach, 2 shades of purple, and then the brown. It's almost like I'm doing a 3-color challenge again. But I think if you guys are interested in it, I'll leave a link down below. They're really fun to experiment with. If you like more of the watercolor look, I think that they definitely give off that, because some of the water lines you can see, but sometimes I think that's a pretty cool effect. They blend pretty well with enough work, and I think the versatility of having the sharp tip to draw lines that are opaque and also blend it out is pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this art product review. I really like the pens. I recommend it to anyone that wants to try it, but I think it's a challenging tool to use. But once you get the hang of it, you guys would probably be awesome at it. So remember, all the links are down below if you guys are interested in the product. Thank you, Arteza, for sending me these products to try out. They are a lot of fun. Don't forget, the people at Arteza were kind enough to give me a code for you guys to use for 10% off your entire order on arteza.com. The code is iiKiui10, iiKiui10, no spaces, and the K is capitalized. I'm not sure if that matters, but just to be safe, it will be down in the description as well, along with the link to the website. This coupon code expires on September 30th, 2017, so this year, end of the month. So I would go ahead and use it now if you're planning on buying anything. They also have a sale right now for, I believe, about 50% off or more on a lot of their products, so I would go ahead and look at that if you're up for it. So with that, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. Again, thank you to Arteza for sending me these real brush pens. They're very interesting to use and something I haven't seen before. So keep drawing, keep painting, you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!